Hello everyone, this is Josh Explain Place, and today we continue to grow and expand our city of New Austin in this episode 16. So we'll try to figure out what else to do to this city to help it grow and keep it interesting. Let's begin. As you can remember, there's a couple of things that we were able to accomplish in our last episode. The biggest one was to create this neighborhood, this new subdivision, and I think it's looking really well. It's just basically a grid as you would see in most cities, and we also put a nice park in the middle with some parking lots, and I think that's working really well. We have sort of stopped with the demand at the moment, but even then I do want to continue the to create more residential areas for people to live in, and I think I am going to put some in here. That way it's easier to access the university. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this road. Again, once we have access to unlock the other tiles, this is going to look a whole lot better. So we should be fine at the moment. And I'm going to extend this, that way we can continue our line this way. Let's just make sure that we don't have any traffic lights. But before we continue, let's do what we always try to do at the beginning, which is check for electricity. There's enough availability. For water, we might need to upgrade these treatment plants with the newer ones. So let me pause the game and let me work on it really quick. Okay, I think that is working really well. Same thing for garbage. I think we should be able to place down maybe one or two more of these. Let's do it on the other way. We should be able to fit. Let's pause the game real quick and delete these lines for now. There you go, and I think that's gonna help. Yes, it did. Let's check for education. I think we're doing fine in terms of education, with high school being maybe the biggest issue, but we will build a new high school in this area, so we shouldn't worry about it. And with university, we might need to build some more dorms here, so we'll take care of that later on in this video. And maybe we should think about plopping down a library in here, and I think that we're gonna put it here, just here. There you go. That should be fine. And last but not least, we are gonna take care of that need, and I think we need to build a couple more of these crematoriums. So we're gonna build one. Let's build one here, and yes, that's gonna help a lot. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do something similar in this area as we did for these buildings here, for this residential zone. We are gonna have we're gonna try to make it look like we did more of a quote-unquote medium density. Again, I don't think I think it works well enough, And hopefully within the next couple of days, once we start our new city in Cities Skylines 2, we're gonna be able to take advantage of that. And I can't wait. Hopefully the new video for the City Skylines 2, it can be released on Wednesday. I think that would be perfect. And so that's what we're gonna do on Wednesday, more than likely. Let's hope that everything goes well with the release for all of us that don't have early access, and I think that's gonna be really, really cool. You know what? Let me upgrade these. And before we start this, I kind of want to have a unique building in this area, kind of to mix with the university. And I think what I was looking for are these buildings that were added by the makers of this game, waiting for the release of Cities Skylines 2. And I think the one that has the biggest radius, it's this one, but I think we can put this one in a different one. Let's plop this one and take a look as to how it looks. So that looks fine. Since they're using this, maybe we can use this other one. And you know what? Let's try to keep it with this. And I wish there was another exit. I do think there's another exit here. There you go. And let's make sure that we can get here. Is there anything else that we can? No, I think that's gonna be it. There's an exit entrance here, another one here, and that's as much as we can. Then we'll figure out what else to do once we unlock some of the statues for this university. I think we can continue creating and making this a little bit nicer. And yes, we will be continuing to play with Cities Skylines 1 and Cities Skylines 2. Of course, there will be more videos for Cities Skylines 2 than 1, but we'll try to figure out the schedule for that. More than likely, Cities Skylines 2 will be during the week, and for the weekend, we'll have these Cities Skyline 1 games. I do also want to have some gameplay for SimCity, for just a quick couple of videos to go back and remember how that game used to be. It's nice to go back and check and all that. So let's try to see what we can do here, and we're gonna try to do something similar than what we did on the other area, which is trying to make this look as if it was sort of a medium density zone. And I think we can accomplish that several ways. One of them is by making sure that we only allow for zoning for 3, even 2 squares next to the road. I think that's essential. And also having the policy that blocks from having high rises built in the city. So first, let me make sure that we have this as a zone, and that way we can continue with this. And it's not easy, especially in this game, to have medium density. There's no medium density whatsoever, but we try to make it look as if it was medium density. Besides this, we are gonna go and select the residential wall-to-wall buildings. That also is gonna help for all of them, for the office, commercial, and residential. And that should be able to help a lot. And since in this area it shouldn't make any difference, we can already upgrade the roads. As a reminder, I do like to build the new neighborhoods, the new subdivisions, with these roads with the regular dirt road. I think that works well at the beginning of the game. That way it's not only less money to invest, but the cost of maintenance is also a whole lot less. For example, this two-lane bicycle road is 40 units to place down and 32 cents to maintain, as opposed to this one, which is only 20, which is half, and the upkeep is almost also half. So that's why for me it's a better deal to do it that way. So I think it works well for what we want to do, and it works well with the limitations of the game, which I think should be fine. So let's make sure that we have water available for this new area, for this new subdivision. And sometimes you can call it neighborhood subdivision. I don't think it makes any big of a difference. I am also gonna add just one plaza in here, and I also added another one here. Again, these are the ones that are custom made, and I think that works really well in most cases. You know, it's great for you to do these ones for you. I mean, it's just, it adds a whole different depth into your city, into your parks. Variety more than anything. You know, it's gonna be a little bit better. Let's also continue building more of these dorm rooms here. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten any. We haven't upgraded because we don't have enough students. I don't know why. We place almost everything in here. Let's make sure that these people there. And of course, it's a library, and we have this one, but I think it shouldn't matter, especially because we're by the university, so it's gonna work well. So let's try to place down 2 of these dorms, and let's see what we can do. And I think we used the wrong walkways here, so let's, even though it might not, yeah, I don't think it makes a difference, but just to make sure that we have the correct one. And I think also some of them in here. So this is looking rather nice. Let's also put this here, and I think, yeah, we can fit another one, and that is gonna be just great. And again, we're waiting for us to have more buildings than the ones that we have here once we continue expanding and doing all that. As you can see, these commercial and office buildings are growing. We are having issues with the electricity because this is not building as fast as we thought. So we're gonna let it run for a little bit, and we're gonna see what else we need to do in our city. Let's see what fixes we can do. So everything is working well in terms of death care. I think by placing those 2 crematoriums, we are doing well. There are, I think, there's one that needs to be emptied, and I think that that's about it. It should be emptying pretty soon. This area, these overpasses that we did are working really well. Of course, like I keep mentioning, there's going to be traffic because it's a busy city and it's a busy area. We have all of the industrial side there, so that's why it's still gonna be busy. And I think that maybe in this area we can create more offices in here, but we'll see. I think that what we're needing the most is commercial zone, and we need to figure out where to place them. And I think on the side of this road would be perfect. We can continue with the line that we are doing for the other ones. And again, I think having grids when it comes to offices and to commercial buildings is just natural, and that's what works the best. I don't think there's really I don't think it makes sense to have all these curves in areas where usually there are not that many curves. So I have no issues with that. So I think it's, at least in my opinion, I think it's fine. There's no need for us to go crazy doing all these shapes that in the end sometimes don't work, especially the way that the game deals with curves and all the emptiness in space that we get a lot of the times, which it's not fixed in Cities Skylines 2, which is, it is a shame. And in here I think I'm just gonna continue. I think we should continue. Maybe not. Let's just do it regular. That way we have no issues. Let's do all commercial here. And I think we can do one or two, but maybe not here. Let's do a couple of these unique buildings, especially the ones that have these really cool. These are the Korean ones. So let's see what we can do to make this look a little bit better. And let's try to place maybe not all of them, but maybe just this square. I mean, it's only two, so I think two of them should be perfectly fine. And you know what, let's put this one here, and let's move this one here. Let's put a small walking path, and let's put, maybe this fits perfect. Just one really cool parking lot, and I think that's gonna be very, very helpful. In the middle, I still do want to have some office spaces, and there's two things we can do here. We can just try to put a road in the middle and have more office space here. And what we can do is we can try to find a really cool, we haven't placed the tax office. We need to find a really cool place to put the tax office, and maybe we can do it here. Let's do that for now. I think that's gonna look really cool next to the college. And what else do we have that we can place down? We can do the Fountain of Life and Death. Let's see what else we can do. The Disaster Memorial. We can also do the Clock Tower. Let's start at the beginning. So we have the Bronze Cow and the Bronze Panda, and those are, I think they're better, they fit better in here next to the financial district. I think that's going to work really well for them. We also have all these really cool, let's see, traffic park. We have the Oriental Pearl Tower. We have the office landmark. Let's see if we can put it here. I think maybe we can put it right here. I think that's gonna look really, really cool. And maybe we can find another big tall building from here. Let's see, I think this is way too big, and this is also way too big for it. But maybe we can have the local registrar's office, or the, I think this is gonna work better. We'll do a path here, another one here, and another one here. And let's put some parking here, 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 and here. And that's gonna be great, especially next to all these other offices. There's still issues with death care. I'm a little bit surprised, but not that concerned. So what we are gonna do is we are just gonna place down a crematorium here and just let things work out. This inner city bus station is working really, really well, as well as this one, which has almost 1,300 passengers serviced last week, which means that this is a very transited, trafficked area for at least for pedestrians. So we can see there's a lot of people there. And let's see, we can see, yeah, there's a lot of people waiting here too. That looks just really, really cool. I really like this bus station. I wish that things worked a little bit better. Maybe have the buses go around and then do like a U-turn and then getting to all these stops. But I think doing this to the road, which is curving it, works also as well. Let's see what the names of these diners are. Is Bluebird and Rosie's. We have two really cool diners there. That's gonna work. That's gonna work really, really well. And so we're doing really well in terms of money. We are also doing really well in terms of population, and in terms of growth, I think we're almost getting to the point where we are gonna reach our next milestone. And I do wanna reach the next milestone sooner, very, very soon. That way we can start working on our biggest project yet, which is the airport. I think that's gonna be a great addition to this city. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we can place here that's not so big. Unfortunately, there isn't. We might want to add this Australian football park or rugby. I think that's what they meant. But it's too big. Let's see what else we can find in here that we can place in this little area. That's gonna be really cool, really nice. Let's start from the beginning. This is way too much, I think, to be only one. We have this playground. We also have this dog park. We have the park with trees, which is very, very big, and the large playground. We also have, we don't have a bouncy house yet, so maybe we can do that. And we also have this tropical garden, which is very big, and as well as the botanical garden. And I wish we could have placed this in here, but I think this is gonna go better in here. That way it can be kind of like part of the university where there's all these research maybe and all that. So I think that's gonna work really well. But we still need to find something to place here. First of all, let's try to make this a little bit more uneven, or nicely uneven. There you go. And let's try to see, maybe we can do, you know what, I did create a little taco truck park, and I think this is gonna be the best place to put it. Let's see if, yeah, that's gonna work really well. We need to add a pathway, but we need that gravel. And 1 2 3 4 5 6, and I think that's gonna be more than enough, because I do want to have, maybe we can definitely put something else. And I think the large playground, no, which one was it? This one, the tropical garden. I think that's gonna work really, really well. And I do want to have this branch here. I am gonna place down some of these jacarandas to make it look a little bit more like that. And I am gonna place down some of my custom made little parking lots. And I have two of these. One of them has a what I like to call a little parking meter to pay, and the other ones don't. So I think that's gonna work really, really well. We also have more demand for office, and I think we should be able to zone some of these here. We are still unrecognized, and we still need a couple more students, and hopefully that can be had sooner rather than later. There's also a lot of people coming here. I want to know what's going on, where they're all trying to go. And I think what I'm gonna do in here for now is I'm gonna upgrade this one-way road with the two-way road, and I like to put the industry and have no zoning on either side. And I think that's gonna work really well. Don't forget that we will have to upgrade this. We'll have to extend this road and to make it be this highway. But that's once we continue with the fixing of this, in my opinion, horrible roundabout. So let's take a couple of minutes and see if these roads become a little bit less congested. And one of the things that we are gonna do to help these people out is gonna be to upgrade the roads into the ones with bike lanes. I think that's gonna help a little bit more, and hopefully that helps. And again, it's gonna be, things are gonna be a whole lot more easier with City Skylines 2. For as much as we've seen, everything works better with traffic, with roads, and I think that for me, that's what got me into SimCity in the first place. The city management came in second, but I just have always loved roads, and SimCity allowed me to create all those roads, and that was, for me, that was great. And so when City Skylines came out, and a couple sometime later, I realized that what it was, it really changed the way that I looked at a city builder. I think that it's a great thing to do. And so let's let this run just a little bit more, and we'll see how it goes. Well, finally we reached Colossal City, which means that we are able to unlock one more tile, along with helicopter and some other options. For example, a nuclear power plant, the harbors that we won't need because we don't have access to the ocean, and a really cool, huge baseball stadium. But again, that's for later. We do need to build more stadiums for people here. But it's great, the fact that we now are able to unlock this other tile is great, especially because the terrain in this tile is very evenish. I mean, we're gonna have still to terraform a lot of it, but it's gonna be even enough. One thing that I want to do right now is to keep upgrading some of the roads here. I think that's gonna help them with traffic, and traffic did get better here. Whoever was gonna come into the town, I think they already made it work. One last thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna try to connect this here. That way we have access to this road. And I think this fix will help us manage traffic. And again, we're gonna try to figure out the exits here. Maybe we're just gonna have an exit coming on this side, and just have one exit here, continue the frontage road, and have the entrance ramp into the expressway. Again, once we unlock this this tile. And remember that we're gonna have this expressway meet here, so that's also gonna be an interesting thing that we are gonna have. Let's just make sure that our water is not polluted. There we go, we're fine with water. We have a deadway, which is something that's understandable. That it's difficult to see in this game as to why, but it's really how the population is growing. If your population doesn't grow steadily, then you're gonna have these horrible death waves. There's also some issues with everything should be fine, but just in case we're gonna place a little station here, another little station here, and sure, I think we can do and so now that we unlock this, or that we are about to unlock it, again, we can unlock so many other ones, but I think this is gonna be perfect to start building our airport, especially because we have these already here, these railroad track, and that's going to allow us to have our connection into it. They're asking for more power, and yes, there's issues with power, and I think that at least for now we are gonna build another one of these, and we can put it here, and yeah, that should be good enough. Let's take a look at water. Yeah, we're fine with water. There's horrible traffic in here, and I think that's fine for now. It should be fine. What I am gonna do here, which I think we used to have, is to have this be asymmetrical. Let's see. Yeah, it should help a little bit. So we'll see. Okay. So what I'm gonna do right now is, first of all, I'm gonna extend this road, and I hope there's no bus lane. I'm gonna do this until here. Okay, I think that's gonna work really well. And let me bring this expressway all the way here, and it's gonna go straight. There's gonna be the exit for this avenue, but this is gonna go straight. So let me try to get it as to where I like it, and we'll be back. Okay, and we managed to create or to expand our expressway from this intersection all the way here, and we were able to do an exit for this road, which I think is where we are gonna put our different couple of things. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna start drawing a couple of roads. Let's do one here, and let's do one here, and I think this one too, one here and one here, and I think that's gonna be good enough for now. I think that for right now I am gonna delete this, and I am gonna have something like this. Okay, we can always fix it and we can always change it. So what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start by getting the zone for the airport area, and I'm gonna try to do as much as I can, and I think this is gonna work really well for the area. We're gonna make sure that whatever we zone, the terrain is completely flat. That's what this is the only area tool that does that, so I think that's gonna work really well. I kind of want to try to do it with a contour of the train track. I think that's gonna be fine, and I am gonna zone all of these as the airport because there's nothing more that we can do on this. We are not going to be able to unlock any more tiles here. If you had the mod for the, I think it's 81 tiles, but I think that's more problematic than not. I think 25 is the perfect amount for to play this game. I think it's just that's the perfect number. Again, at least in my opinion. I'm gonna try a little bit to see if we can have all these as straight as possible, and let me just continue this line. And so now that we have the area, and I think is as flat as possible, let's make sure to take off these lights. And I'm glad that people are already using this road to get into the expressway. That's pretty cool. We're still having issues with death care, so just for the sake of it, I'm gonna add one more crematorium, and I am gonna put it here random. That way it helps here. Sometimes the vehicles don't get there because of traffic, but I think that we've been able to, with the exception of this intersection that we're gonna have to work on it later on, and we're gonna have to actually do a whole lot more than just fix this. I think everything should be fine. So now that we have the area of Sycamore Airfield, which we of course are going to change, we have to figure out which of these terminals we are going to use. I think that's one of the main issues. You know, do you want to use the one that's the classic, the one that's the modern, or the one that's the ultra modern? And I like to start with either classic or with the modern, and the more you grow, the more you realize that you have to add and change the style. And so I think that's gonna be it for this. There's also a question of where to place these terminals, especially because they have their own road. For me, this is gonna be a very classic, very normal looking, a very normal terminal. And so what I usually like to do is try to figure out where the middle is, kinda. And so you have to mess with it just a little, and I think that should be fine. I think that's gonna be perfect. Once we put the first terminal, we're able to unlock the hangar, the control tower, some airports, and some other stuff here, which I think is gonna be great. However, when it comes to this, I do like to make this road a curved road, and the other one too. And we will be modifying or changing, upgrading the road for for this. You can see you can also create a road between this and this one, but not between these because it's an uneven number of tiles and things just work very, very weird. You can, what I sometimes do, which we might do on this with this city, is to do something like this, and that way we don't have the buses stay there, or we can have this as to be the only stop. But let's do, at least for right now, let's make these one-way streets. Again, that's how I like to do it. That way we have traffic going only one way, and we can upgrade the other ones just to regular roads. And again, there's no quote-unquote perfect layout for this. We might have to just change this later on because it might not work, but at least for right now, that's how we are gonna do our city. And again, the city is to basically mess it up. A lot of people don't like to see it this way, but it's a game, and you also should be able to experiment with how the game works and what the game does to you. Maybe just for this, I'm gonna add a couple of windmills, and I think that should be good enough to have these have power. And so we're gonna continue to expand. We're gonna use the concourse, and I tried to do things even at the beginning, so we're gonna do 3600 on one side, and we're gonna do 3600 on the other side. Since you cannot put this just any other place, I just put it in the middle. I think it works well, or you can put it a little bit to the side. And right now we only have access to the small aircraft stand, so we're gonna put one here, and I'm gonna show you what I do. So basically what I do is that I leave some space here, 180, the cost to 180, and in here for 3000, and I do again 180, 300, I'm sorry, 180, 300, 180, 300. Let's see how many we can do here. 180, 300, and 180, 300, and we get all of these together, and I'll show you what we'll do right now. And I'm gonna do one more, 180, 300, and that's it. And so I do place one of these aircraft stands just every other road, and I think this is gonna be it. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of playing with it to figure out how to do it, and for it to actually go from red to green. We're gonna do this just for right now. Let's also make sure that there's water for this. We're just gonna do this. And again, I'm glad that we are not gonna have to worry that much about water lines in the in City Skylines 2. Besides this, we're not gonna finish with this right now, but besides that, we have to place down the runway, which is this one, and I think just put more. I'm putting down this road so that I can have, so that this can be a little bit more symmetrical. Again, it doesn't have to be, but I like to make it that way. So we're gonna do it from here all the way here. Now let's do it here. It's a nice big runway. And now let's get this in here. So we're gonna have to have a road here. We're also gonna have another 300 here, and I want to explain you in a bit. and this is where the exit is. So we're gonna try to link this up to do this, and let's also try to do the same here. So let me pause the game really quick. And the way this is gonna work is the entrance into the runway is gonna be here. So this is gonna be the entrance, and the exit once the planes land is gonna be here. So once they land, they're gonna go all the way here. They're gonna go here. They can take this road so that they can take an entrance to the other one, and I'm gonna show you really quick how that works. And once they get into the stand, they can go back into this road and into this other concourse to go into, the other taxiway into the actual runway. And we're only using this side and in this way for now because we are gonna have, of course, more aircraft stands that we can put in there, and they're gonna be on this side if we have enough space. Again, we can do one and then we can do another airport. And this is one of the things that at least this DLC created was a sense of scale. Airports are big, airports are not these ones that we have here that are easy to place down. Airports are big, and so I think this DLC was able to capture that. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen on City Skylines 2, at least for now. And so I think that's going to be an issue. So we'll see how that works out. So now the last thing that I'm going to do is, what I did here was basically have one entrance and one exit into this stand. So we have to delete the roads that go into the other stands, as you can see here, and that allows any aircraft to come here, go into this road, go here and go out, go here, go out, and that way we avoid having traffic or congestion here. I am gonna expand this just a little bit. That way we can just finish this other stand a little bit more. There you go. So we can put this stand here, and we're gonna have 5 stands for this airport. And something that I have been trying to do lately is having these aprons. Basically, it's just being able to place down some this so that it looks a little bit better, in my opinion, more realistic, also a little bit more realistic, even though it's a little bit difficult, but I think this works really well. And of course sometimes it doesn't work, like in this case, but that's why I think we're okay with just moving this just a little bit to here. And maybe let's try to put the apron again, but maybe the larger one. See, we can do this, and yeah, let's move it just a little bit more. I don't think that's gonna affect us in our other stuff, and maybe we can just continue this here. Okay, and sure, why not? Let's just pave all these here. And again, this goes for personal preference, how you want to do all this. Of course, there's more tools with mods where you can do this easier, even without having to pay. But again, we're not using mods, and so I think this is gonna work great. Also, we are gonna place down one here, another one here, and we can put maybe one, one, and one. And let's go back to the apron and fill this up and fill this up too. And I think that's gonna work really, really nice for now. It's unfortunate that this is not allowed in here. The last thing that we're gonna do before we let this run is to create another zone, another district. And this one is gonna have hotels. Of course, we will grow this to the right and to the left, but I want to have this with tourism. And so we are first of all going to place one of these hotels here. We can do it one here and one here. And I am going to add the walkways here and here, and another one here, here, and here, here. And I am gonna plop down some of my parking lots. And of course we're gonna need to put a little walkway here. And we are gonna zone for commercial in here and in here. And one more thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna expand these roads. Let's make sure that there's water. And I am gonna build, of course, it wouldn't be an airport if we don't have parking lots. And I am gonna put one here, and I am gonna put more parking here and here. So that should be it. There's water. And oh yeah, one last thing that I'm gonna do is I am gonna create one line that goes from here all the way here and then back. And maybe another one here. And that's all we're gonna do. Let's change the color. I think we're gonna do a lighter blue. I think that's gonna look at least okay. And we are gonna change, let's just make it hard blue, and we are gonna change this to the articulated airport bus, and we're gonna do 50% because we don't want to have that many buses coming into this station yet. And so we are gonna take a little bit of time, but let's hope that our airport gets used a little bit more than we hope for. Let's see. And we already saw our first two planes depart. Let's make sure that these people have water. And just for the sake of it, at least for right now, let's change this into two-way roads. Sometimes it gets very weird and very glitchy that the garbage doesn't get picked up, and I find that very weird, very odd, but I guess that's what happens. Let's plop down a couple more of these in here. Let's do 1, 2, and 3. We'll figure out if we need to change this, but at least right now that should be more than enough. Maybe that's what's happening too. Well, we can always change it. That's no problem. And I think that I'm gonna as a road with bus lines. Let's continue adding some more stuff here. In the middle, I do wanna do. Maybe we can do. Can we do the birthday plaza, or we can do just one of these? Maybe we can do two. There you go. I think two of them will be fine. And I think we can do some aprons in here. I think that's gonna look good enough for these. That's too big, so let's do the little aprons. I think it's gonna be fine for now. That's whenever you exit to go to the airport, you're gonna get here, then you're gonna try to figure out where you're gonna go, and then you can park and all the parking that we have, or do whatever you feel you need to do. Something else that I'm gonna do is I am gonna place down two little pathways, that way people can also get from there to here, and another one here. Hopefully soon enough we should be able to have a subway line. I'm sure this is going to be the subway line if nothing else happens, and this should be a great place to put that subway line here, or that stop, and I think that's going to work really well. Let's take a look at this line to see how it's doing. Yeah, it should be fine. There's not that many people waiting for it, but there's enough vehicles. And as you can see, we're going up in terms of demand, and I think it's okay if we start expanding this a little bit more or a little bit less. It shouldn't matter. And as always, we can always move this to be a little bit lower in order to have more space, because we are going to need more space in the near future. But again, that's for later, not right now. Also, I try to leave this open so that when we have access into having the fence, which I find it weird that we don't have the fence until we unlock level 2, we can put it here, and it works really well. At least for right now, things are working fine. Let's take a look at this. Let's rename this to NAX as New Austin International Airport. The attractiveness score is high enough. We only need more passengers. Right now, nothing is being used. It's a 50-50 thing, and we're not going to do any policies yet, but just we need to double check that we didn't make any mistakes in the way that we drew our taxiway. So we're going to make sure that people can exit through here and people can get here, go down and go into all of these stands and then go out. Yes, they can, all of them. They can also return if they want to, and I think that's gonna work really well. And although this might not be the best looking airport, I think it's working really well. It's difficult to try to do the best looking airport. It's always difficult because of how things work in City Skylines. But at least what we did today is very functional, and it's gonna help us grow our city a whole lot more. As you can see, this is looking really nice. Later on, we're gonna be able to put another I completely blanked, another runway on the other side. What I like to do is to have one runway be for departures and another one be for arrivals, and that helps, I think, with traffic a lot. We can also put them one on each side. That also helps. In this case, we don't have the option to put it on another side unless we decide to bury this expressway, which we can very well do, and have this curve and have more or another terminal on this side, which we can do. I'm not saying we're not gonna do it, or maybe we can just continue this on this side, and I think it's gonna work also really well. Either way, things are working really nice. All those depths that we had, I think they were fixed well enough. things are running really well, and that is where we are gonna finish with this episode 16. Something to keep in mind is that you won't be able to do everything once you sit down, in one episode or in 1 hour, which is what we usually do, or 45 minutes to an hour. You might think that you're going to accomplish a lot, and sometimes you don't, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to finish everything unless that's your purpose, unless that's the way that you want to play the game. Go for it, but don't feel frustrated if things don't just run fast. And that's, I think, sometimes a lot of people feel that frustration, and that's a little bit of unfortunate, uh, because you should just enjoy your game, and any way you can, really just enjoy it, and be free to do whatever you want to do. Make mistakes. It's a game. You can delete, you can revert to your previous save state, and that should work really really well. One last thing that I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zone all of these for residential, and we're gonna see it grow really quick. And well, we actually reached level 2 already, which is very very cool, very very nice. And so before we finish the video, let's see how things are going. See, this is working a lot. We have 72% occupancy. Basically, most of it is incoming traffic. This is something that I try to avoid, and it's basically having traffic. I don't know why the game is not a little bit smarter in terms of having these other planes arrive at another stand. They're empty, so it makes no sense why these two planes were waiting for this one. This one came here, and hopefully this one will not get there. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's gonna work great. And so what we unlocked basically is having the medium aircraft stand, which we'll start putting in here. And we have a really cool concourse that I think we can do later, and we might be able to put it here, or it all depends. Really, it all depends how we wanna deal with it. We unlocked a couple more hotels, which we need to figure out where we're gonna place them, as well as these lounges, which I'm just gonna place not right now, but I'm gonna place one here. And it's difficult to place them because there's not enough space here, and if we put it on this side, we're not gonna be able to put the fence right next to it, which is something that we finally unlocked. Again, it's very weird. And so this is where I like to put the fence. That's all I'm gonna put in here because we need to leave this for our next episode. And so I'm glad that we were able to make this airport. I'm glad that it's working really really well. And so we are done with this episode 16. We were able to create yet another zone for residential, commercial, and office, and we did it using the wall-to-wall district or zones. We were also able to connect the expressway into one of the avenues, which was okay. We placed some unique buildings, such as the library for City Skylines next to the university. And finally, and most important, we were able to create this, at least right now, simple but very functional airport. And I think we had a very successful video. And as such, I do want to thank you for liking this video, commenting on this video, and subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see each other in our next episode tomorrow. But don't forget that we hopefully should start a new city this upcoming Wednesday. And so we'll wait and see. Until tomorrow. Thanks.